Hello everybody, this video is going to go over argumentation models, how you can set up your essays, because in an argumentation essay you have to bring in the other side, which is the opposing. Give some of their facts so you're not trying to hide anything from your readers, and then you refute that or spin it back to your side. So I'm going to use pro and con. So if I say, for instance, thesis, Harper Lee is a better author than Maya Angelou, I think that Harper Lee is the best, so she'd be my pro. Who do I think the second best or the con is? Maya Angelou, so she'd be my con. She'd be the opposing. So when I talk about pro and con in here, I'm going to say Lee or Angelou. So you know, again, Lee is my pro, Angelou is my con. So let's say I decide to write model A. My first paragraph would be the introduction with the thesis statement. Lee better than Angelou. Pro argument. Since Lee is my pro, or I choose her as the best author over, or better author over Angelou, so anytime I write a pro argument, I'm giving reason number one, why I think. Number two, why I think Lee is better. Number three, why I think is Lee, etc. If you need a pro argument 4, add it. And you guys will have to label your paragraphs. So I'll show you this in a second when you write your essays. Now, Lee is my pro. I also think that Angelou could be a really good author, but she's my opposing. She's my second choice here. So I'd want to bring in reasons why I think Angelou is a good author, and then I would refute or spin it back to my pro, who is Lee. And then you'd have a conclusion paragraph. Now, counter argument and opposing here, I could have one paragraph, or if I need another, make it 2, because if you use this model A for your research paper, you may use more. But here's the general model. Can you add more pro arguments? Yes. Can you add more counter arguments? Yes. You're going to follow the basic model A. So some may choose to use model B. Thesis statement in your first paragraph, then you want to counter and oppose right in the beginning, then pro, pro, pro. So again, counter argument would be Angelou. Give her facts, refute, spin back to Lee, and then give our reason number 1 why Lee, number 2, number 3. It would be just like this, but reason 1 for Lee, Lee, Lee. Here would be pro argument 1, 2, 3, etc. And then your closing. Again, you can add more of these if you need to. This is the model, and you can add to it if you want. Here, I like model C, especially if you have. Let's just take a look at it, and then I'm going to tell you why. So model C, your introductory thesis statement, then you counter and oppose, counter and oppose, counter and oppose, and then your conclusion. This one would be good as if you had opposing views claim that Angelou was a better author than Lee. So this would be good if you had equal elements like the fact for Angelou, fact for Lee, fact for Angelou, fact for Lee, fact for Angelou, fact for Lee, because you're spinning it back. This would be good if you had those. So you could do that as well. And again, you could add 4, 5, 6, how many counter-argument and opposing that you do need. And then model D, thesis statement, is the same as model C, except this time you're going to add your pro-argument at the end. And then, of course, I got to add conclusion there. You guys know that the conclusion is needed, obviously, conclusion paragraph. The next part is starting the counter argument and refuting phrases. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 parts to a paragraph that you're going to follow when you write an opposing article or counter argument for me. So let's say that we're here. So any of these we need to counter. Remember, you want to bring in the other side. That's what makes this argumentation. If you don't bring in the other side, you're basically just writing a persuasive essay. But here, bring in the other side. We're not trying to hide anything. We believe in our point so strongly that our pro is the best or the number 1 choice that we're not afraid to bring in the other side or the opposing. Okay, so counter argument. So how are we going to write the counter-argument paragraph to make sure our readers know that, this is a counter-argument paragraph? Here are the 4 steps. So for let's say we're going to write a counter-argument paragraph. Obviously, you want to introduce it, have a topic sentence. This is the best way to start it, is often argued that or opposing views claim that Angelou is a better author than Lee. That's the way to start it. 2, we want to acknowledge the points that Angelou may have, because maybe she won more awards for writing than Lee did. Okay? And here you're going to use one of these words to start it. Clue, keyword. Then 3, we want to counter or refute this. So yes, maybe Angelou won more awards than Lee, but however, you want to spin it back to make Lee the stronger overall. And here I want to tell you, sometimes you may have to concede a point. Maybe your opposing view or your second choice may have a point that we can't beat, the pro can't beat. Sometimes you have to concede it. You have to be honest, okay? And then, let's just say we don't have to concede right now. What we want to do is we want to refute or spin it back to our side. And you can start with nevertheless, however, on the other hand. And then the last sentence of your counter paragraph would be your conclusion. Okay? So there are 4 parts here, the key words. Let's take a look at some examples of these being used. These keywords. Okay, so let's go down here. So you're going to write a paragraph this week, just a paragraph as your discussion board, the second discussion board prompt this week. So here, let's use a paragraph, and this time, this is what your discussion board prompt would look like. Yes, I want you to put the parts. I want them in bold. Yes, I want you to highlight the key terms that you used. For introduce a conclusion, I used ultimately. So, ultimately, it's not here, I added it. Ultimately, thus, therefore, a result. Okay, and so let's take a look. So here, this one's not about Lee or Angelou. This is going to be about, the thesis is the University of Colorado Boulder should go green, environmentally friendly. So the pro here is students who want the college to go green, environmental friendly. Then the opposing is people or students who do not want it. So pro, people who want to go green, or students who want to go green. Opposing, con, against. So let's set this up. Okay, so let's come up here. Let's say we're using Model A. We gave our thesis, students who are for Boulder Green, who are pro going green, and then we've given reason number 1, why we should go green, number 2, why the college should go green, number 3, now we need to bring in the other side. We have to talk about the students who oppose, who are against going green. So let's go back here. So introduce the topic sentence. Opposing views may claim that going green should not happen at this college. So they're bringing in the opposing, those people who are against it. So acknowledge key points. Let's give some points of why those people would be right, who do not want it, the students who do not want it. You say, admittedly, some who oppose going green state the claim that becoming environmentally friendly is too expensive and will result in higher tuition and fees. So the students who are against going green, what's the number 1 reason? Because tuition is going to go up, all right? And then here, you're going to counter the argument. However, often a very small increase in fees. So my side is saying, the pro side is saying, yes, your fees may go up because you have to pay for the green materials, and it's the process of doing it instead of just throwing them in the garbage. What they're saying is that if the students goes up, if the tuition goes up, it's okay because look at, we're going to be able to purchase wind power, and that's going to help the carbon emissions. So yes, the opposing do not want to go green because it's going to be more expensive. We're going to refute back to the pro side, or students who want to go green. Why? Yeah, the fees are going to increase, but look what we're going to do for the carbon print. Okay? And then close it. You're arguing, this is your pro, you're coming back to your pro, you're spinning it back, and then ultimately students have the power. If they think their school is spending too much on green projects, then they can make a change or choose to go elsewhere. And then you might want to say something about, but overall, helping the environment, just is a $1 increase in fees really worth it when you can help the environment? Is it such a big reason to stop? Okay. Then here's my works cited. This is where I got the information for this one. Okay, the second one. The second example, you can write your paragraph like this. Instead of writing it instead of writing it this structured like I did here with the bullets, you can also write it as a regular paragraph. But notice again, part 1 in bold, the keywords in yellow. So this one is about an opposing paragraph. Pathos prevails over logos. So this one is going to be pathos is the pro, logos is the con. So it was about an article, and it showed more feeling than it did logic, because there was a man sitting in an electric chair. So anyway, so pathos here is the pro, logos is the con. So let's set this up. Remember, we've given information for pro argument 1, 2, 3. For pathos, now we want to bring in logos, our opposing. So opposing views claim that the ACLU advertisement plays more on logos than it does on pathos. So more on logos because we're talking about the opposing view. The opposing is logos. This is the con. But what is our pro? Pathos. Part 2, you want to acknowledge the valid parts of logos. Well, why would certain people be against this being all about feelings and pathos? Why would some say it's more generated toward logos? And here they're saying that they're giving a reason. Then they say overall this statement is based on facts, on logos. Okay, and then you want to spin it back, come back to our side here. Now it's pathos this time. However, the picture of the man sitting in an electric chair is still both scary and depressing, which is pathos for sure. So, and then close it up. Ultimately, pathos is stronger than logos. So again here, pathos is the pro, logos is the con. We've already given our reasons. Now we're going to go into our opposing paragraph. And again, opposing views claim that logos, this time we want to give some evidence to why some people would choose logos. However, we're going to spin it back and say ultimately overall, pathos is still the stronger. Pathos is our pro. That's what it's in our thesis. And then you'll give your works cited information here. So let me jump back up here. So for the discussion board, you're only going to write a paragraph this week. Okay? And then when we start to write the essays, you'll go thesis statement, pro, 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 counter argument, opposing. Teacher, how am I going to set up a counter argument paragraph? You can use example A, or example 1, or example 2, but they must be labeled. You have to have this. I'll explain that more in the essay prompt and in the discussion board prompts. Okay, everybody, thank you very much. I hope this helps.